Hey guys, how's it going? And happy Friday. I hope y'all are doing good. Well, Thomas Massie, the representative from Kentucky, he lost. In a few months here, he will no longer be a United States rep, and big loss for the 2A since Thomas Massie in his about 14 years in Congress has been one of the most staunch pro 2A congressmen. Second Amendment defenders. I know for much of his time in Congress, he's literally led the Second Amendment caucus in the U.S. House of Representatives in Washington, D.C. And well, every time there's a winner, there seems to be a loser. And every time there's a loser, there seems to be a winner. Thomas Massie lost. I believe this is going to be a loss for the Second Amendment. And hey, let's face it, Israel wins again. The United States of Israel, or whatever this country's called nowadays. Now, it also happens to be Memorial Day weekend, a time where we remember the fallen, people who have gone to war and fought for these United States of America, and God bless their souls. A lot of good people have died based on the common principles of the Declaration of Independence, the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Second Amendment, and America. And it makes me think of the first veterans of the United States of America, and specifically the ones that passed away fighting for what would soon be the United States of America, and that'd be the Revolutionary War, fighting against the Crown, Great Britain. And at that time, we won. The United States of America won and formed a new country that its principle would be on self-governance, and rejected all of the control and the taxation without representation and so many other grievances from, at that time, the current King of England. Now, we've read the Declaration of Independence more on this channel than probably anybody. A lot of times I just read the first half, but we've read all of the grievances here. When you read through all of them and look at July 4th, 1776, now people had already started dying for this country before that, actually. But the grievances then, in many cases, are actually more applicable now than they were then. Think about this. This is my opinion, and let me know what you think. We probably have a more tyrannical government. And I say probably as a term of art, and I'm actually being very gracious when I say that. But we, air quotes, probably have a more tyrannical government right now than the founding fathers did when they were willing to fight against the big military superpower of the world to be free, to declare independence. And you know what? We were independent for the most part, though never completely, from Great Britain for about 135, 40 years, actually. And I talked about this before. Those of you that have been watching this channel for a long time, you might remember this. If not, I can't tell you what episode it was, but I know we talked about it here. So we fought the British Empire and we won, quote unquote, but where are we now? Did we really win? Did the sun ever truly set on the British Empire? Or are we under it right now? And I've thought this for years. It's literally on one of my previous live streams. I think the answer is no. We haven't escaped the British Empire. She's still alive and well right now. And we're under a more tyrannical version of it than we've ever been before, actually. I listen to a lot of stuff when I'm cutting grass. I need stuff to pass the time, and I'm trying to always educate myself and listen to current events. And Tucker Carlson was just talking about this whole concept of the British Empire, taking root and reintroducing itself in the early 1900s. And I'm like, yeah, I agree. I've been talking about this for years. Now, when I brought this up in the past, I've gotten a bunch of pushback and a bunch of flack. Maybe now that Tucker Carlson's saying it, people will be like, oh, wow, 2A EDU is right. Maybe, maybe not. It's funny, sometimes when you're too far ahead of your time, it's actually a bad thing. And this channel very rarely times anything right. But that's okay. Because I think about something that's not okay, and that is that we've got Memorial Day coming up here in just 2 days. A lot of people fought, a lot of people died, and I'll say with no caveat at all, I respect that. And I appreciate them because most of them, you can't say everybody because just because somebody dies doesn't mean they're good, right? Let's be honest. But for the most part, these have been good people that were fighting, in their opinion and their mind, for a noble cause, for a just cause. And I believe at one time we did probably have some just and noble battles in this country, like the Revolutionary War, for example, War of 1812, when the Brits came back again. See, it's this whole thing where it's like, oh, the Brits were here and we were a colony of the Brits, and then we won, and then they came back, and then they've been gone ever since, except for I don't think they ever left, actually. I don't think they ever left at all. And we've had all these wars and all these people have died. But you know what I've been noticing lately? The more wars we have and the more people that die, we keep becoming less free, not more free. And I think that's sad. And I don't say that to undermine anybody's service at all. Like, nothing to do with that. And I think those of you that know me know that I'm not doing that. But look, the more people that keep fighting and dying for this country, the less safe we get, the less secure we get, and the less liberty we get. The Great War, the World War, World War I. Think of all the Americans that died. Tough as nails fighting overseas. Then we have the Second World War. Who were the good guys in that war? I don't know. Because to roughly paraphrase Norm Macdonald, isn't it funny how the good guys seem to always win the wars? Well, of course they do. Because the victors get to write the history every time. So you've got the generations of people that were tough as nails, fighting off, well, the Germans, 19 teens. We've seemed to be with the communists and Bolsheviks every time. Or at least 50% of the time every time, but pretty much every time. And then we've got World War II, the so-called greatest generation. Island hopping, storming the beaches of Normandy. Like, these guys were tough. Kind of, actually. Kind of. Like, they were, but were they really, though? Because if you have these two really tough generations in this country, think about this. Why the heck did we literally lose our country right around the time of World War I and essentially become a corporation? Let's cut to the chase with the Federal Reserve. With a corporation printing our money that literally isn't worth anything now at all. It's only debt. It's only a promissory note. It's actually not money at all. It's a fiat currency. So you've got this generation fighting across the world. Then you've got the so-called greatest generation coming up. In between all of them, just think about this. They say, oh, they don't make men like they used to. I don't know if that's true or not, actually. Because I'm hearing more people talk about this corrupt BS government we have now, actually, than ever before. Because you got World War I, World War II. Then the National Firearms Act comes up, kind of smack dab in between the two, if you think about it. The NFA. The first sweeping gun control in the United States. We went from a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. We went from that to a mere privilege where you can lick the jackboot of whatever you think it is, probably the crown, quite frankly. And I'm going to get into that, and I'm going to get into Israel, the Balfour Declarations, and Thomas Massie's loss, and the over 30 million reasons why he lost, actually. So why is it that when this country was supposedly, like as tough as it's ever been in the last 100 years, 125 years, why did we lose the Second Amendment? Why did we lose the Second Amendment when these guys were so tough? You ever think about that? Of course, then the greatest generation gives birth to the baby boomers. And look, shout out to the baby boomers that are the good ones. Because I know there's some good ones watching now. My parents are both part of that generation. I love them dearly. But at the same time, You've got all these people polishing their boots in the greatest generation. Then the baby boomers come in and they act a little bit rebellious. They've got Woodstock. They've got this and that. But just keep in mind, look at the Opium Wars. Okay? Look at the Opium Wars and what the British Empire did to China back then. It's called mercantilism. That's a key part to all of this, and it still is. It has to do with the Straits of Hormuz and that all ships are still insured out of London. Go look it up if you don't believe me. It's literally, you can't make this up. The more things change, the more they actually stay exactly the same, really. And like the Bible says, there's nothing new under the sun. So you look at these baby boomers, I haven't seen a generation in my life that isn't more selfish. And look, except for the good ones, and you guys know who you are. And I have some good friends in the chat right now. But besides the few good ones, I haven't seen a selfish generation more than them. I haven't seen a weaker generation, and I haven't seen one that wants to lick the boot of the government and just be marched around like a bunch of sheep and told what to do. And their daddy Israel just told them what to do yet again, and they came out against Thomas Massie. Because if you look at the age group there, this whatever his name is, nobody's even heard of the guy that won. I can't even remember his name. Like, I'm not even joking. I'm not making this up. I literally can't even remember this guy's name. Nobody in Kentucky even knows his name. Nobody knows where he is. Where did he come from? Oh, he was this, he was that, but he was under such top secret orders that he could never tell you what. Look, this is ridiculous. This is all ridiculous. So you look at the early age voting. The teens, 18 to young 20s, they support Massie like 70-something%. And I'm just loosely remembering here. The numbers don't exactly matter, but you're going to get my point. You get to the next generation, Gen Z. They're supporting Massie by like 30 points over this one guy that nobody's even heard of. You know what I'm saying? Then you get into the millennials. They're still supporting Massie by like 25 points. Then you get into my generation, Generation X, which is kind of in between. And half of my values, I actually identify with Generation X. If I had to identify with a generation that's still like around right now, because really, I just want my damn country back. And I want to get as close to like 1789 and 1791 as possible. So let me throw this caveat in there. Where my heart and soul really is with Jesus and the Bible and the good book. But while I'm here on earth, I'm actually kind of like in the wrong time. Being an American, 1790s all the way through much of the 1800s sounds a lot more appealing to me. At least the first half of the 1800s. But as far as current like generations that are still alive, I'm between the boomers and I'm between the millennials. I cling to a lot of like late 1700s, early 1800s values, actually. But again, let's go back to modern days because, hey, this is where we're at right now. Life's short, but while we're here, this is what it is, right? But in certain ways, I'm like, yeah, these kids nowadays and stuff, of course I do that. I'm getting old, guys, but at the same time, I like a lot of this younger generation, actually. I like the fact that they're willing to call a spade a spade. I like that they're willing to call all this crap out. So it's kind of like Generation X is a weird one. And if you guys are in it, you know what I mean. We're kind of just stuck in the middle. There's not really like an exact place for us, but if I had to pick between the ones before me and the ones after me, I identify more with the younger generations, actually. Now, that puts us into a huge problem right now. Massie's running against this guy that wants to reinstate the draft. Not for people his age, of course. No, for the younger people. Not for people my age, actually. I'm too old to be drafted. But no, he wants to draft the 18-year-olds, the 20-year-olds, the 25, 30. Hey, a lot of people think World War III could be on the horizon. I hope it's not true, but there are some indicators where you can't rule it out. 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, up to, I believe, 45, if I'm not mistaken. It can be drafted theoretically, but certainly people that are 25 and under, prime candidates to be drafted to go fight for a place they've never heard of. to go die for something that they have no clue what it is, but if they even knew half of it, they vehemently disagree with it. And that's where I identify with the younger generation. Because that's why we're here right now, aren't we? We're here to help our children that then become young adults, and they very quickly do. We're here to help teach them about things like, in my case, Jesus. That would be number one. And then after that, you want to teach them about the United States of America, about certain unalienable rights, about the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, all 10 actually. And then after that, the country just started going to hell, quite frankly. We need to repeal the 19th Amendment, the 13th Amendment, and so many others. We just need to go right back to this country and have the Constitution actually be the supreme law of the land again, for once. But young people are like super important right now. And they're pissed off, and I understand why. Because here's the problem they have. A lot of younger people actually are like pro-gun. They think guns are cool. Well, hey, that could be a step to getting them to be more pro-Second Amendment. And a lot of younger people I've been talking to lately are vehemently Second Amendment. And when I say younger, I just mean younger than me, okay? I'm running into a lot of younger people that are pro-Second Amendment. Now, look, I talked about the blue versus red, which is symbolic in so many ways, just this last stream. This is this bifurcation of America. You've got two choices. You can be on the left. You can be on the right. You can be red. You can be blue. But, you know, you have all these other generations where they're like, oh, yes, of course. You know, that's just the American way. If you're a blue-collar worker, you go vote for the blue. If you're in the country club, you vote red. And that's how it was when I was a kid, they used to say. And then there's this perception due to campaign slogans and lies, because both of these parties suck. And in my opinion, almost every last one of them in Washington, D.C. Almost. And I think Thomas Massie cared about America. He didn't accept any money from AIPAC, and he's the only Republican that didn't, by the way. He called out AIPAC. He called out the other one with the island. And I guess he flew too close to the sun, didn't he? But the problem is a lot of these younger people, and this is where I'm kind of young at heart, and I think some of you that are a lot older than me are young at heart too, okay? And I think that's where you guys get it. Look, if you were born in the baby boomer generation, but you get what I'm talking about, you're not a quote boomer. Like, there's some real ones out there. And I know some of you very, very well. But these younger ones are sitting there being like, look, I want my guns. I want the government to get off my back. But I don't want this war in Israel right now. And it's gotten to the point where to be a Republican, you have to be a Zionist for so many people. And if you're like, whoa, wait a minute now. There's like innocent children getting killed every day in Palestine. So that means you have to like be a Democrat. And if you just feel bad at all, and I'll admit to you guys, look, don't forget to give me a thumbs up tonight, because I'm about to get some thumbs downs right now. Look, I'm not Muslim. I'm not Jewish. I'm actually not a secularist, okay? I'm not an agnostic. I'm not an atheist. I'm actually a Bible-thumping Christian. And I believe Jesus is the way and the truth and the life. And the only way to the Father is through him, actually. So if anybody's going to do that whole, so you're this, you're that. No, I just answered you. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Jew. I'm not a Muslim, okay? Deal with it. But just because like I'm not a Muslim and I'm not a Jew, that means that I can't be sad when I find out about at Israel's behest. That's literally what Marco Rubio said. He said, we had to bomb. Remember this? This is months ago now. I was going to say this war that would last a couple days. Months ago now, he said, look, we had to bomb Palestine first because they were getting ready to attack Israel. So, like, we defensively, preeminently bomb them because they're going to supposedly in the future bomb this other place, this other nation, which in my opinion, I don't even acknowledge having countryhood, actually. But it actually saddens me, and I feel really sad. Like, I'm not going to do it tonight because I'm not wanting to get into drama, but I've literally sat there practically in tears thinking about how many hours I work in this corrupt country we live in. Way more hours than I should have to pay taxes, and taxation's theft. And an income tax is 100% unconstitutional. So is the Federal Reserve. So is all of this. And then my tax dollars are being used for bombs to bomb little girls' schools in Palestine. That makes me really, really sad, actually. And it makes me really angry, actually. It makes me really, really angry that our country has to be friends, supposedly, with this other country that's killing a lot of innocent people right now. And they have been for a long, long time. And if you know what the Balfour Declaration is, or was, and you know what the Brits were doing right around this time, that the Federal Reserve gets put in, 1913, okay? And if you know about the Balfour Declaration with the Brits, and if you know about the Schofield Study Bible and dispensationalism, which swept this country and said that all Christians have to be Zionists and support Zionism and support the nation state of Israel, Israel becoming a country. You know, Jesus ordered that the temple be torn down, and it was very shortly thereafter. But they want to build this third temple, and they believe they can usher in Jesus coming back. Now, here's the problem. The Schofield Study Bible and all the dispensationalists said they could guarantee it would happen by the new millennium, while they were 26 years off. But here's the problem. These older generations, they still believe in this. Not all, but a lot of them do. You've got all these so-called Christian Zionists out there saying the only way to heaven is if Israel can become a nation, and if we can build that third temple. Jesus said, I'll rebuild the temple in 3 days, and he is risen. And as a Christian, I believe that Jesus is the way to the Father. Period, actually. But we've got all these Christians, many which happen to be Republicans, many times referred to the evangelical base of the Republican Party. You've got people like Ted Cruz, many, many others, saying, if you don't completely and unequivocally support Israel in everything, I guess that must also include killing all those innocent children. You know, the girls' school that we hit twice. We didn't just hit it once, we hit it twice. That you don't love Jesus and you're not a real Christian unless you're a Jew. Excuse me. It doesn't even make any sense. Look, this rhetoric these people have nowadays, to expect someone to believe it, literally requires the listener to be dumber than the speaker. And I just want to know why so many people in this country have been so stupid for so long. People are waking up right now, but they're also tapping out. Because here's what younger people are realizing now with this Thomas Massie election. They're like, well, hold on a minute. A lot of them kind of want to be a Democrat because it's the Democrats that are outwardly saying, now look, they're two wings of the same bird, two sides of the same coin, okay? But right now, if you just look at keep this in mind, a lot of you are probably more in tune than the average, quote, normie. But the normies are like, all right, well, if I want my Second Amendment, I better vote Republican. That's like a real shallow, okay, thing. But trust me, I've talked to a lot of normies out there. I purposely tried to. Because it's good to talk to people that know more about this stuff than you do. But sometimes it's nice just to talk to people that, like, actually don't really engage in politics at all. They'll say, well, I got to vote Republican for my Second Amendment, a lot of people will say. But if I believe it's an atrocity of what's going on right now in the Middle East, then they think they have to vote Democrat. They're conflicted. Now, younger people generally don't vote as much as older people because they're out hanging out. You know, they kind of like don't really care too much. They get distracted easily. They're really busy. Just all these reasons. However, right now, it's more than that. It's actually a lot of the younger people that are actually smarter than a lot of the older people, and they've realized something very, very important. They've realized they're not going to vote their way out of this. Now, those that do vote in this Republican primary, vastly, and it's not even close, people that are in their mid-50s and younger, supported Thomas Massie. Once you get below 40, they were supporting him at a rate of like 3-1 over Mr. Draft or whatever this guy's name is. I literally can't remember his name. You guys can let me know in the chat. And as always, shout out to the replay crew. Let me know in the comments. But they're basically sitting there to themselves thinking, hold on a minute. We can't really vote ourselves out of this anymore. Because what are you supposed to do? Okay? Are you supposed to vote Democrat, they think to themselves? Well, now you have to support the Ukraine war. Which, by the way, we're still pumping untold amounts of money into that. There's still untold amounts of good, innocent people dying over there every day right now. So if you vote for the blue, you've got to support that. Well, then what if you vote red? Well, now you've got to support this. And a lot of people are, dude, I don't want this or that. And a lot of them say, just go F yourself, and I'm just going to play video games and just kind of tap out. And then there's other ones that are just itching right now. They're just say when. Now, they don't really call it the revolution anymore. They use more modern hip terms like boogaloo and things like this. But you hear a lot of younger people talking about stuff like this. As they watch the boomers and the older generations, which have the vast amount of wealth in this country, they watch them and they listen to them talking about their main house, their summer house, their snowbird house. And then if you live in Michigan, their fourth house up north. A lot of these people own 2, 3, 4 houses. As they should if they worked hard for their money. I'm not a communist, trust me. But these younger people are now realizing, dude, I'm going to work my butt off and I'll probably never even own a house. You know, Walmart just put out a big notice today and said, we've kind of been absorbing the brunt of the increased fuel prices. Diesel $6.29 a gallon in Michigan, for example. We can't absorb it anymore. Groceries are going up. You know, you hear people back in the day and they're like, dude, I used to make good money. I worked for Ford Motor Company. I made $20 an hour. House, 2-car garage, white picket fence, a car. Still time to take a 2 weeks vacation. And look, man, I'm not saying those people didn't deserve a vacation. They worked hard. And I have all kinds of respect to blue-collar people that actually make things in this country. But these younger people, man, they ain't going to have a white picket fence. They're probably never even going to be able to own a house at all. Even if they make $30, $40 an hour, they probably won't be able to actually. And they're making, even when you adjust for inflation in a lot of instances, because inflation's rigged now, they don't count some of the core things that you actually need to survive. So there's the real inflation, then there's the air quotes inflation. Trust me, Biden administration lies about it. Trump administration lies about it. There's one thing they all have in common. They all lie about everything. Literally, that's what they all have in common. I mean, there's going to be some subtle differences, but at the end of the day, they all lie about everything. They lie like a rug, okay? And people are like, dude, what the heck, man? Boomers are snowbirding, and I can't even afford to go snowboarding for like one day with my friends because I can't even afford to eat right now. I've talked to people lately that are 20, 21 years old that are working 40 hours a week. $20 an hour. And they're still living with their parents, obviously, because you can't buy a house and feed yourself on $20 an hour anymore, especially if you have a wife and a kid. So they've tapped out. They're saying, screw all of this. And instead, most of the people that are voting nowadays are people that just love authority. They love restrictions. They love regulation. They actually take these people serious, like, oh, Mike Johnson's the Speaker of the House, and their eyes get real big, like, oh, you kidding me? What a joke. Mike Johnson, Speaker Johnson. Oh, man. He was the one that was calling for Derek Chauvin's head with St. George Floyd. So look, at the end of the day, we're sitting here right now, and Thomas Massie's not going to be a representative much longer. He lost. Big loss for the Second Amendment. But this kind of shows where you're at right now, because Israel. Israel comes in. I tried to post something on YouTube, but they took it down. They also took my Phoenix Ammunition Tour video down. And it was bad timing because I was really sick and had this weird like virus. It wasn't a normal cold, trust me, but my voice was gone for like almost 2 weeks. Then they got back into my account again, and I had to take another week off. Deleting videos from 4 years ago. They're not going to like this topic either, but it's over on X if you want to see it, okay? Make sure you're following me on X. Make sure you're following me on Locals, censorship-free sites, because I put up a cool pictographic that showed like Miriam Adelson wins. So the Jewish donors came in and said, nope. Nope. We'll put up enough money, enough advertisements, and make sure they're candidate. Which yet again invokes even more divisiveness. I put up a little post about it. I just said, Kentucky, oy vey. Oy vey. Ain't that the truth? It's weird, man, because then all of a sudden, immediately, it didn't get much traction. Maybe people didn't understand the subtlety. Maybe half my viewers hate me because I'm not towing the party line. Heck, I've had a lot of my Christian friends mad at me lately because I'm not Jewish enough. Hey, it is what it is. We can still be friends later if you want to. But if the ultimatum is, if you want to be my friend, you have to support the Republicans and everything they do and become a Jew, no thanks. I guess we can't be friends anymore if that's the case, right? But then it comes down to, it's like, well, what did Thomas Massie think? He went against Donald Trump. Yeah. Look, Thomas Massie has consistently voted no more than about anybody. Contrary to the lies that the Israel lobby put out that he votes with the Democrats 90% of the time, it's actually not true at all. He actually votes with the Republicans 90% of the time. It's actually a proven fact. Again, like, yeah, that's why I don't want to be a politician, because who do you even vote for anymore? But at the end of the day, the Second Amendment's on the line with this. And it ticks me off because, no, I don't live in that district in Kentucky. But this affects the whole country. And I guess it comes down to Trump said no. Massie needs to get out. And I'll just put in any warm body to get rid of him. He had said that originally. Now, Massie and Trump have been going at it even back in the first administration. If you remember when the Kung flu came, they were trying to pass trillions of dollars through unanimous consent, where not one of them would have to come to D.C. Thomas Massie would show up, though. And there's just a clerk in there. They do this in Michigan, too. They literally do it in Michigan. They do it in the middle of the night, and they do it in D.C. It's during the day. It's during the middle of the night. It's whenever it is that you ain't watching. And the clerk just presides. And they just read all of this stuff. Okay? And they say, we declare it'll be passed by unanimous consent. And if there's no member of Congress there to say, I object, they don't even have to vote anymore. Did you know that? So they were trying to pass all these laws by unanimous consent, where one representative shows up and says, I motion that we pass this law by unanimous consent. All in favor say aye, and the one person would say aye. All opposed say nay. Hearing none, the bill passes. And don't forget this, Trump and his were trying to pass all this stuff by unanimous consent. Thomas Massie would show up and he'd say, I object. Oh, did that piss them off? Because we were all on lockdown, right? They were vacationing all over the place. Remember Ted Cruz, there's that big power outage. There's the ice storm. People are freezing to death and going hungry in his state. He's like, oh, well, my kids wanted to go to Mexico. He's in Mexico. When he's not in Israel, he's in Mexico. You know what I'm saying? They're all going here. They're all going there. You were on lockdown. It was illegal to cut grass in the state of Michigan during this time. But these Congress critters, they were vacationing everywhere. If you know what I mean. But they didn't want to have to go to work. Now, it's reprehensible and unthinkable that they would even be passing bills that print trillions of dollars of fake money. That's the reason, like, that's one of the biggest reasons stuff is costing so much for people like you and people like me right now. If you remember, it's just about 5 years ago, they printed more money all at once than they had previously printed before. Like, that's literally how crazy this has gotten. Thomas Massie would show up to object. He's like, at least you're going to have to come in and vote. He typically lose in the long run and the uniparty would unite, but at least he didn't go down without trying. Now, that really pissed Trump off. Go back and look at the news archives if you don't believe me. I promise you it's true. Trump said, this is my arch nemesis. He was totally against Massie during his first term. But he didn't primary him like this. And he didn't call on his friends from that eensy-weensy little place with the eensy-weensy little hat. He didn't call on the hat, the tiny hat, to come in. Until Massie co-sponsored that bill with Ro Khanna. That little island you're not supposed to talk about. Now that pissed him off. Actually, Trump denounced all of his supporters when that happened. He said, anybody who questions this, anybody who wants to see these files released, screw you. You're not MAGA anymore. And people said, well, hold on a minute. We want to make America great again. He says, you can't. I invented it. I decide if you like America or not. And I've decided if you want to find more about this island and this guy whose last name ends in Steen, oh, go figure. Look, we're all just goy to people like these that own these islands doing bad things to children. We've got some fresh beef jerky in. Wink, wink. I mean, come on. You guys have read the files. You wouldn't have read any of the files. And I don't think we have them all yet. I know we don't. But the ones we do have, you wouldn't have read those without Thomas Massie. That's what he did. That's when he flew too close to the sun. That's when the old Balfour Declaration came right back again. Don't forget about that British Empire. Don't forget about it. Don't forget about Lawrence of Arabia. You know who Lawrence of Arabia is? Go look him up. Now look. Massie gets primaried. He also happens to be the only member of Congress that wasn't a large donation recipient of AIPAC. Now, we have this PAC in the United States, these United States, whatever the heck this country's called anymore, that doesn't have to declare itself a foreign PAC. It doesn't have to declare itself foreign money and all the extra scrutiny and disclosures that have to happen, because they say, look, dude, a PAC that's just there to influence the best interests of Israel, meaning they want what's best for Israel over the United States, that's not considered foreign somehow. I mean, when you think about this. When I think of America, what do you think of? Do you think of apple pie and baseball or do you think of, like, I don't know, like bagels and this place over in the desert somewhere? Well, according to the current president of the United States, most of the Republican Congress at this point. That's more American than Thomas Massie. That's more American than the Second Amendment. That's more American than getting to the bottom of this list of all these people that were allegedly trafficked to nobody. This nation state, this place where Jesus said, I'll tear down this temple. He declared it. Tear down this temple very shortly after. Now keep in mind, he had fashioned a whip and gone in there and cleaned it out. He had overturned the tables, the money counters. Look, the money counters, the Federal Reserve. Actually, the Titanic sinking, if you look into it. I'm repeating myself with all of this at the end of the day. That's America now. That's America right now. Remember one of the top people in the Israeli government got caught doing bad things to young people? I'm having to censor myself very heavily on this software that I'm on, this website. We shipped him back right over to Israel. You think of Miriam Adelson. And here's the crazy part. If you don't believe me, don't listen to me. Because some people are really probably getting mad at me right now. Because I'm going against their daddy. I'm going against their orange daddy. That orange thing that's in the White House right now. No, I'm not a Democrat. They just happen to be kind of funny when they call him orange. Anyways. He was literally giving a speech not too long ago. This is in the past few months. And he's literally ribbing Miriam Adelson. Saying like, yeah, she buys this policy. And she wants what's best for Israel. And she tells me what to do for the money. I mean, I'm paraphrasing heavily, but go watch it. There's probably clips of it all over the place. So don't take my word for it. He admits to it. They all admit to it. They all brag about it. He had the audacity to go after Joe Kent for remarrying too soon. Trump did. He goes after Joe Kent, think about this, for marrying too soon after his wife dies. Speaking of Memorial Day, this is what pisses me off about this stupid country we live in right now. Now, look, love the people, but I'm just saying this government, okay? He's giving him a hard time. She died in Trump's war. Go look it up. And he gets remarried 5 years later. Trump's been with how many women? He's cheated on how many wives? Like, literally, it's like... I heard Hunter Biden talking in a recent interview, and I'm actually sitting here right now having a harder time deciding who's full of crap more, this one or that one. And this is insane. But who's Trump going to side with? It's obvious who he's going to side with at this point. It's completely and utterly obvious. He does everything he can to get Thomas Massie, who was, if not the biggest, certainly top 2 or 3 most pro-Second Amendment supporters in the whole Congress. He got rid of him. So now he's gone after my Second Amendment. He's making it right now where it's hard for me to even survive because I'm spending $6 on gas and $6.30 on diesel. And he wants to put more ethanol in the fuel. So I'll have to keep buying wreck fuel forever for my lawnmower, won't I? But I'm sure the Kushner family business is doing quite fine over there. Think about it. Who's Trump going to look out for when push really comes to shove? Is he going to look out for a guy with blue eyes and red hair that's struggling to keep up with gas prices and keep his lawn service going? Basically some goy? Or is he going to look out for Ivanka and Jared Kushner and his children? You guys tell me. There's no time right now for the Second Amendment. Look, oh, the most pro-Second Amendment administration of all time. Huh. Really? More pro-Second Amendment than the George Washington administration? Or the Adams administration? Or the Jefferson administration? Because I don't remember having gun control laws under them, actually. Just think about this. They're pissing on you and telling you it's raining. They're saying right now, with us having 26,000 plus federal gun control laws, regulation, codes, and rules, they're saying they're more pro-Second Amendment than George Washington. You'd have to literally be stupid to believe it. How stupid are you? How stupid are Second Amendment supporters right now? Have you asked those questions lately? Because people still come back to me. But 2A Edie, you have to calm down. This is the most pro-Second Amendment administration of all time. Oh, really? Really? You mean like this one's more pro-Second Amendment than the Jefferson administration that wrote the Tree of Liberty letter? This administration made sure that Thomas Massie, who was a big pro-Second Amendment supporter, is out of office so they can protect people on an island somewhere, and many other reasons. Thomas Jefferson talked about from time to time, the Tree of Liberty needs to be watered by the blood of patriots and tyrants. It's its natural manure. And there was no gun control in this country then. We had countless administrations where there was zero gun control. They put out these rules. I went through all of them last week. These rules are milquetoast at best, and some of them are actually a trap and are anti-Second Amendment under the guise of being pro-Second Amendment. So yeah, I actually understand where these young guys are coming from. Where they're like, dude, what are we even going to vote for? What are we even going to do? And I don't know the answer to that, actually. And it's not that I'm a hypocrite, and it's not that I'm a liar, because I've never told you guys anything that wasn't my honest opinion. But I've been the one on this channel over the years saying, yeah, guys, we do actually need to vote. And that's what the Founding Fathers told us we needed to do. And I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you right now, I'm starting to evolve on this. I'm sitting here right now where I'm not sure what to do, okay? I'm not to the point of telling you not to vote. But I just don't know anymore, right? Because it's your moral compass. It's what you have to think about and live with and pass on to your children and your children's children. When you're sitting there thinking to yourself, well, I voted for one that was a little less worse. I don't know, man. You think about it for a minute and it's like, if you go along to get along with something, are you complicit in it? Are you an accomplice in it? You could argue, to a lesser extent, are you just as guilty as the perpetrators of the evil? And then you think further, and maybe you're just as guilty as the perpetrators of the evil, actually. Now, if there's something evil, you're supposed to stand up and stop it, but here's the problem, you can't stop it either. None of us are just going to stand up and stop this, are we? Let's see what you guys have to say right now, because I'm not happy about this Thomas Massie situation. I'm not happy with this dang war in the Middle East right now at all. Or the one in Ukraine, or any of them. I just think about, man, did the sun ever truly set on the British Empire? The Federal Reserve, mercantilism, merchants on the seas, Straits of Hormuz right now, blocking ships. I think about the blockades from the Germans, which led to the Treaty of Versailles, which leads to. I mean, it just keeps going. It's all really a big circle. Marco Polo, a channel member and a super chat. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. He says crazy times, but it can be corrected, I hope. Oh, eventually water always finds its level. I'm just really dreading the day, man. If we have to, well, basically, like the Declaration of Independence says, if it's going to show itself yet again that we have to reach absolute despotism, man, I don't want absolute despotism for myself, for my daughter, for you, for your children. But I do agree it will be corrected one way or another. Hopefully it can be corrected without us having to reach rock bottom. I'm with you, man. I am. Joseph, what's happening, man? A channel member and a $2 super chat. First of all, nice to see you, and I hope you're doing good, and thank you for the support. I appreciate it. J Flow in the house with a $10 super chat. Thanks, man. I appreciate the support. And I appreciate, look, real quick here, I appreciate all of the ways you guys support the channel. These super chats, all of my channel members, my local supporters, Patreon supporters. Appreciate all of you. I didn't do any ad reads, guys. I do not turn ads on for these live streams at all. So, thank you. And I'm definitely not getting money from APAC. Mm-hmm. J Flow says, appreciate you too, AEDU. CA is hell on earth for our rights. I hear you, man. I hear you. This whole country's in big trouble. And California is even worse than most of the other states. Hang in there. Don't give up your guns. Whoa, there he is. DLD After Dark. What's happening, man? Thanks for the super chat. And as always, shout out to the DLD After Dark channel. He says, follower of Christ, not a follower of a party. Well, hey, Ted Cruz would disagree, you know. I'm just saying. But thank you, man. I appreciate it. And God bless you, man. Thank you. Speaking of another friend of mine and a good YouTube channel, shout out to the Ron Wayne official channel member, and a 223 super chat coming in saying, appreciate the information and all you do. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate you. And you live in the great state of Kentucky. I'll go back and read the chat afterwards if YouTube allows me to. I want to see what you're thinking about this. You know what I'm saying? Ooh. Oh, that's a thing, man. You know, I have questions too. I have to be real careful how I word this, but I get it. There's 30 million reasons, if you know what I mean, why Thomas Massie lost. Because it's not that that other guy won. No one even knows his name. No one's heard of him. I've talked to a few people from Kentucky. They're like, who? They literally, like, they pronounce his name like 10 different ways, okay? But it's Thomas Massie lost, not that guy won. And like I said, there's about 30 million big reasons, about 30 million promissory notes to pay debts public and private. Look at me right now. I was about to pull a dollar bill out just to show you guys that it says it's legal tender for all debts public and private. And I have an Arby's receipt. I used the buy one get one free coupon that I had. And I actually don't even have a dollar in my pocket to show you, but look, so here's the thing. I was going to say, I bet you $1, man. In my opinion, something's not quite adding up right either. There's actually a lot of questions about that election. And I'm just going to have to stop there since I'm on YouTube. But there are people in Kentucky that notice things and they're asking questions too, which wouldn't surprise me at all. Marco Polo coming in. Member super chat for 49 months. Wow, man, that's a lot of support, and I appreciate you, dude. Virginia is fighting back. Even Trump suing. Well, hey, give them hell, man. You got to fight like hell because these people, they have their agendas. Trust me. So, have you guys thought about that concept? Because right now we've got this Massie thing, and it's a symptom, okay, of the sickness. And yeah, I am kind of ranting about one congressman because look, he's very, very pro Second Amendment. But it's also all the underlying conditions right now. And we complain about Trump and blah blah blah, but I believe at this point, in my opinion, he's the Israeli ambassador to the United States. And I'm going to say Netanyahu's the worst president I've ever been under. And I think about that pesky British Empire. And I think about that 1909 Schofield Study Bible. And look, I'm not trying to start some big debate with people that I really like that believe this, but if you look at this whole concept of this dispensationalism, the erecting of the third temple, that you have to be a Zionist. It's called a Christian Zionist, meaning we have to have an Israeli nation state. Now, look, I understand about the Old Testament scripture, okay? All the way from river to river, but here's the problem, and I've done whole live streams on this in this channel that if you're new here, welcome, first of all, and go back and watch them. All these people that are there right now, first of all, aren't even religiously Jewish at this point. Some of them are of one tribe, some are from another tribe. There's the Canaanites, okay? See, that's the thing. Do you have to support the Canaanites to be a Christian? Do you have to support? How about this? Joshua fought the battle at Jericho. The whole tribe of people that God ordered, you kill all of them and all of their animals. Go read the Old Testament if you don't believe me. You're to kill them all and their animals. But they didn't. And their descendants still keep perpetuating. Do you have to support them unequivocally to get to heaven? Who are these chosen people? Is it everybody that lives in this very specific area right now? Is it the ones that moved from Poland at a certain point? Is it the ones that moved from Germany at a certain point? And look, if we can figure out who they are, then we can start to talk further. But as I've said before, I don't even know really who they are at the end of the day. Because I say, hold on a minute. Is Judaism a religion? And, yes. Or is it a ethnicity? Yes. Is it a race? Yes. Is it a divine providence? Yes. Is it anyone who happens to be in this area? Yes. I'm like, okay, so which one is it? And the answer is just yes. Now, there's a lot of secularists there. And the Brits have been involved there for a long time. And keep in mind, the King of England claims to have a direct bloodline to Christ. And then you've got let's call them Middle Easterners for now, because it just gets real complicated, okay? There's a bunch of different tribes of people over there that all claim direct lineage to Abraham. Now, here's where it gets complicated, though. Were they the descendants of Sarah? Were they of this concubine, that concubine? Well, my descendants is of a higher level concubine wife than your descendants are. And they fight, and they fight, and they fight. And they've been fighting over this stuff for a long time, actually. And some still believe that you have to give sacrifices of your livestock. Some believe you have to pray at a certain temple. Some believe that you have to pray on a certain color prayer rug to get to heaven. Right? Well, I believe that Jesus shed our blood and that God sent down his only son. And whoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. That's actually what I believe in. And I can't trace my bloodlines back to a very specific, royalty. I don't believe I have any royal blood at all. I'm glad I don't, because they're kind of a little bit goofy looking. At least the British royalty are. It's almost like you hear the old saying, you might need to add a little chlorine to that gene pool at a certain point. Yeah. I can't trace my exact bloodline down to which wife of Abraham or not, but as a Christian, I don't need to be part of a certain bloodline, because I believe that anybody can pray to God through Jesus. And I believe that the United States being set up on Christian principles and moralities. We weren't set up on Judeo-Christian values, actually. The United States was set up on Christian values. And before someone clacks it off and says, but separation of church and state in the Constitution, 2A EDU, you won't find it in there, because it isn't in there. There's no, I'm being literal. There's no separation of church and state in the Constitution. There just isn't. If you don't like it, go dig up bones and yell at Thomas Jefferson. Yell at George Washington. Yell at James Madison. Because I'm the one that did not put it in there. They didn't put it in there. Now, the First Amendment was to say, you don't necessarily have to be a Protestant Christian. You don't have to be an Episcopalian, per se. We'll leave some room for the Catholics. We'll have Maryland and different... I'm serious. Go look this up. I'm not making any of this up. I didn't write any of this. It was written long ago. But now it's gotten morphed into our Judeo-Christian values. Judaism, Christianity, same thing. Same religion, same country. Who's the president of this country? I don't know. I know Thomas Massie had like a plethora more of the just individual voters, people donating $5, $10, $50, $100. More individual people by far. It wasn't even close. Gave him donations, but it didn't matter. Because there were 4 people that put this certain little place in the Middle East first, and their money just overpowered them all, and it wasn't even close. See what you guys are talking about in the chat. Gerald, people don't care to understand everything Trump is doing. Ain't that the truth? They don't want to know. Yes, the states would have their own state religion at the founding, actually. Most of the founding colonies, founding states, had their own state religion. I wish I had it memorized and I could tell you right now exactly which one was with church, but I'm telling you, most of them did. Wolf, wolves, wolf. What's happening, man? True, anyone can be of the chosen. That's what I believe. That's what I'm putting my eternity on. What's happening, Bill Campers? Nice to see you, man. Thanks for being a channel member. Massey says he won't contest it. No, he lost by too much. Look, I'm not saying it's going to be overturned. I just heard some people in Kentucky saying they saw some things that were kind of funny. And I'm just asking you, if you lived in Kentucky, especially if you were in that area voting, did you see anything weird going on? Just curious. I'm not saying it's enough to overturn it. Nothing like that. And look, I don't worship. Here's the thing is, I don't worship Thomas Massie. I want to make this crystal clear. Does he have faults? Yes. Yes. Because just remember, guys, I'm not a libertarian either. Okay? Not like Libertarian Party. There's some things that Thomas Massie's talked about that I vehemently disagree with, but big loss for the Second Amendment. And I also happen to be very anti-war. And I just say anti-war period now because I haven't seen a decent war in a while. I've never seen one in my lifetime. I'm saying even reading the history books, I haven't seen a decent war in a long time. Long time, actually. Look, if Israel needs to defend itself, it needs to defend itself, okay? But everything's proxy wars now. There's all these puppet states. At the end of the day, Brits are probably running all of it, really. Kind of. People would say, well, China, and that's the thing, though. That's the thing. China's a weird country. They'll just have to start another opium war on them. And look up Britain's opium wars on China if you want to see how quick Great Britain set them back for a long time. China is a big threat. But there might be bigger ones. Jim Falcone with a generous $20 super chat. What's happening, Jim? How you doing, man? Nice to see you. I don't know if you had a message and the ghost of Susan Wiki. Does anyone remember her? There used to be a CEO of YouTube named Susan Wiki. Didn't like this channel much, but her ghost is still hanging around, and it doesn't either. Neither does the current ones. Dude, they keep taking down my videos, guys. But hopefully she didn't cut off your message, man. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you, man. Wild Times, what's happening, man? Channel member? And he's sending me some rocket ships. I was going to say, those aren't nukes, are they, buddy? No, they're not. Thanks for the super chat, man. I appreciate your support. And well, I was just listening to this thing about the Bikini Islands, the Marshall Islands and stuff. Oh, my gosh. We've committed some atrocities in this country. I mean, all countries have, okay? Just because I say, like, we've committed lots of atrocities and, like, you know, like Israel's killed, like, children and stuff. It doesn't mean that, like, the Palestinians haven't killed people either. Of course they have. Duh. It saddens me when they kill people from, I was going to say the other side of the bank, but it's so complicated now. Israel's taking over all of it. Parts of Lebanon, the West Bank, this and that and the other. I don't know, man. I wish there was a scenario where children didn't have to die. Tell you what, though, don't give up your guns. See, we don't have a Second Amendment left, really, at all. If you look at all the gun control laws, rules, most pro-Second Amendment administration of all time, making a few things a little less worse here and there. But we still do have a lot of guns. And as Mao said, Mao of China, anyone ever heard of him? Now they're saying it's hundreds of millions of people probably, actually. Famine. Moving the farmers out of the country into the city, making them melt down their plowing implements. Like crazy stuff. So they would starve to death. Well, Mao was right on one thing. He said all political power comes from the barrel of a gun. And it does, actually. That's for sure. Makes me sad that children are dying in other parts of the world. But at a certain point, some of these people, they're just going to have to take care of themselves. And I believe any nation has the right to defend itself. And if it can't defend itself, well, then it gets taken over by the more powerful nation. And I'm not saying that that's good or bad necessarily, because it would depend on which one was which, but that is kind of the nature of things at the end of the day. But there's a lot of people in this country right now that are having problems, big time problems. This housing market bubble is going to have to burst at a certain point. But they're trying their hardest. Look, something weird's going to happen soon. We can't just keep on having this $6.30 a gallon diesel fuel. And every time you turn around, just everything's going up everywhere you go. Because everyone worries about the price of the pump of gas. Because very few people drive diesel trucks. Well, I drive a diesel truck. And it gets 12 miles to the gallon. And it's like $250 to fill it up right now. But even if you don't own a diesel, that's what you need to look at. Look at the price of diesel fuel. Because that's what transports everything in this country. I mean, serious. Jet fuel, diesel fuel, which are first cousins of each other. Way more similar to each other than gasoline is to either of the two. It's just so weird. I hear all these people say, oh, well, gas came down to $4.74. Like it's a win? Excuse me? Like it's a win? People are just stupid, man. People are just stupid. Is everything just fake and gay? Is that all it comes down to? Hopefully you guys find it entertaining if you're just shaking your head being like, dude, you're just wasting your time on here. Everything's fake and everyone's gay. Maybe that's all it is. But boy, are people stupid, man. I was talking about gas prices and how I'm going to keep my business going. Someone's like, what are you complaining? They said, boy, you're getting ripped off. I paid $4.74 for a gallon of gas. I'm like, and you're happy about that? That's a big win? Excuse me? That orange thing when he was running said that he'd have gas under $2 a gallon. He was bragging the other day that gas was still $2 a gallon. He's so senile, he barely even knows where he is anymore. The only reason he still knows that he's in Israel is because Jared Kushner's reminding him, in my opinion. Ivanka and Jared Kushner. Look up them and their hat. I'm not joking. He was just saying, we've dropped gas this much. No, gas is more than it was under Biden right now, actually. And I had this clown down the road here, someone in town, I'll just leave it at that, saying, you're being ungrateful, man. They're telling me this. You're being ungrateful. Gas is not $5 a gallon. It's $4.74. I'm like, look, dude, Walmart has like a terrible quality produce department. Half of the fish is literally says imported from China. It's farm raised. Like, that's where I shop. Are there a lot better places with higher quality food? Yes, but I'm poor and that's where I can go. And I'm looking at this dude and I'm like, dude, Walmart just made a big press release and said that Walmart's going to be raising their food prices here like right now. And it sounds like it's going to be quite a bit. I'm like, dude, but diesel fuel is what's making all this stuff go up. And then he literally tells me, he's like, dude, you're starting to sound like a Democrat. I'm like, what's that? He's like, you keep saying Trump this and that with his war and these gas and diesel prices. I'm like, yeah, I'm ticked off. That liar came into office and he's got everything jacked through the roof and all jacked up right now. And says he's more pro-Second Amendment than George Washington. And then I said, if I loved a liar, I'd hug his neck. But I don't hug a liar. So he can basically venture forth and fornicate himself at this point. He's like, that's it. You're a Democrat. I'm like, whatever, man. Whatever. It's just so stupid, man. It's like, you can't stand this one idiot, so that means you have to love this other idiot? I'm just not sure. Christopher Bishop, it kind of seems like it. Am I wrong, man? I hope I'm wrong. I really do. What's happening, Mike McClune? How you doing, man? And thanks for being a channel member. He says diesel 6.59 beans across the street from where I work. Jeez, man. See? Yeah. And then Lyle Smith. What's happening, Lyle? Yep, there's the Mao quote. All political power comes from the barrel of a gun. The Communist Party must command all the guns. That way no guns can ever be used to command the party. There you go. Thank you for the quote. What's happening, Midwest Logger? Nice to see you, man. He says, hey, I think Gerald and Christopher have Israeli flags flying high over their American flags. Really? Well, I mean, yeah. They probably still like me, don't they? I think we can still be friends. Can we still be friends, Christopher? Look, I mean, how you doing, Midwest Logger? Deb said, well, what's happening? What's up, JR? Yeah, I mean, I don't know, dude. I wasn't talking about hating any person, but I do hate evil, actually. I know it when I see it. And we are supposed to hate certain things, actually. That's what Ecclesiastes says. Ecclesiastes, a time to love and a time to hate. I hate people killing little children, actually. I hate people killing innocent old people, middle-aged people, young people, medium people. How many wars do our young men have to keep getting slaughtered in? This is Memorial Day, guys. It's a very, very sad time. We should all be grieving over it. How many more of our young men need to be slaughtered for every time? Every time we send them off by the thousands, collectively the millions to the slaughterhouse, we keep becoming less free. People in this country keep becoming less happy. The pharmaceutical industrial complex gets happy the less happy we are. Pop more of this, take another one of those. No matter how much they're feeding these fat cats with Pfizer, all of these big pharmaceutical companies, they keep getting richer and we still become less happy at the end of the day. But 2A EDU, these psychiatrics actually work. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a whatever. And I'm not your mommy. But how come we keep prescribing more and more of them and this country still becomes less happy? If all these lobbyists were such a good idea, how come the more the lobby, the less freedom we have? How come the more of all this crap that we're doing, this country's doing right now? The less freedom, the less Second Amendment, the less First Amendment, the less everything that used to make this country America. How come there's less of that every time they get more of their crap they want? Those are questions I have right now. For my friends who are like 2A EDU, you need to support Israel more. Why? Why? Will I get my Second Amendment back if I support them? Will I get the First Amendment back if I support them? The fact that our country's supporting them right now, is it making my gas and diesel prices less or is it making it more? And I'm all ears. Like I literally am. If you can tell me what it's going to do to help me and all my friends in America out to support them, let me know. Just don't tell me I have to support them right now in this war to get to heaven. Because if you have to support this war to get to heaven, you do you. But I'm washed in the blood of Jesus Christ. And Jesus died for my sins. And that's what I believe in. I don't believe I have to worship at this third temple that needs to get built back on this very specific site. And here's the thing. If I'm wrong, Gotta let me know that. Not you. Gotta let me know that. Not some random person on the internet. And I'm saying this to offer all of you encouragement. Because you'll have friends out there they'll question whether you're a patriot. They'll question whether you love your country because you're not supporting this other country. They'll question your religion. They'll question your walk with God. They'll question all kinds of things. Well, first of all, anyone that's judging anybody else's faith and judging whether they're going to get to heaven or not, hey, he who is without sin, you cast the first stone. That's what I've been telling a few people lately. Of course I sin. Throw yours first. You might be holier than me, but I still ain't gonna follow you because you're not holier than Jesus, and that's who I follow. I'm a sheep in Jesus's flock. And the Lord's my shepherd, and with him I shall not want. I want people in Palestine to be happy. I want people in Israel to be happy. Okay? And if they can both be happy, great. If they can't be happy, they're going to have to figure it out. I just want my dang country back. I want my country back. And I want my Second Amendment back that wasn't granted by the government. It was endowed by my Creator. Certain unalienable rights. God bless you, Live Life. Nice to see you, man. My cup runneth over. Yes, sir. Oh, I got a smile on my face right now. You guys are reminding me of some good scripture, actually. Oh, Minor says, read the Bible. It says nothing about a third temple being built. Well, look, guys, I'm not a theologian, but a lot of this stuff seems to come from the Schofield Study Bible of 1909. This is around the same time that the Federal Reserve, which don't forget is a corporation, is running all of the fiat currency of this country now. There's a lot to this. Jesus overturning tables, fashioning a whip, because in the temple they were disgracing the temple and God. They were doing illicit trading of doves. Look, you know that was a sin to be the money counters. Usury is a sin. Yeah, see, that's the problem was I just thought about this. This is way too complex to get into this late, so I won't. But just something for you all to think about. I'm wondering if Jesus would have met the test of the Christian Zionist right now. And I say that like it's one specific thing. It's not one very specific thing, but just listen to all the Christian Zionism you hear. I'm like, man, I don't. Jesus might have a hard time. I mean, could he measure up to it? Ferocious Kitsu, what's happening? Speaking frankly, I don't see a way out of these times we found in peace. Constant change and lies. No, I hear you. Back to Ecclesiastes again, which I really like. Time for peace and a time for war. Look, there's times to love, there's times to hate. There's times to turn your swords into plowshares, and there's times to turn your plowshares into swords. Sadly, I agree with you, actually. Deb said, well, we all have to meet Peter ourselves. Gerald, well, that is what Trump's trying to do. If we keep going like we are, you think you are feeling pain now. I don't know, man. Like, I see prices, gas is higher right now than it was. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about, but you're not using logical fallacies on me, are you? You're not saying because I'm real frustrated with Trump right now that means I like Biden, are you? Are you? Will you give me an honest answer, man? Look, guys, this guy can't stand me. He's in my stream every week. You know what I'm saying? Here's the thing: it's his favorite channel because he's here every week. He can't stand me. Have you ever noticed that? This guy literally gives me heck, like pretty much constantly. Christopher Bishop's usually pretty nice to me, but he's giving me a bunch of crap too. And Kamala would have given you the country back. No, of course she wouldn't have. Dude, look. I'm hoping, I think we're good enough friends where we'll be good with this. Because if you guys can give it to me, I can give it back a little bit. Is that fair? Can anyone suck at me on that motion? Look, guys, let's just be square with each other real quick because you're heckling me. These are logical fallacies of a third grader, okay? Look, man, I like you, but you can do better than that. Because I'm completely disgusted with Trump, that does not mean that I think Kamala would have given me the country back. You're engaged in a logical fallacy. It's the lowest brow one that there is. And, you know, there you go. And see right here, we agree on this. There you go, man. He says, agreed. We're long overdue to shut down the Fed. Well, good, man. I knew, like I said, me and Christopher Bishop are usually cool. He's just, you know, we got some different views on some of this. Big time. Just if any of you guys want me to have a logical conversation with you, just please. And I am asking this very kindly because you'll do whatever you want, obviously. Don't engage in like that low brow of logical fallacies with me, guys. And it's not just you, Christopher. I just happened to read that. People do this a lot. Oh my gosh, 2A EDU's like really frustrated with Trump. So he must think that Kamala would do a way better job. And I don't think that. I couldn't possibly think that. And if I literally thought that, I'd be so stupid. You know, you probably shouldn't watch me anymore, okay? I'm telling everyone this. If you think I'm so stupid that I believe Kamala would be running the country better than Trump right now, yeah, don't watch me anymore because I'd be too stupid to watch, you know? Obviously, I don't think that. It's just, here's the problem right now with this stuff. Trump says, I am the most pro Second Amendment administration of all time. And then I come back and call him out. And I'm like, that's bull crap. This isn't anywhere near the most pro Second Amendment in a lifetime of all time. He says it different every time. I'm the most pro Second Amendment there ever was. And he just says all this kind of crap. And then immediately when I'm like, liar, liar, pants on fire, and I call him out for his BS, invariably somebody always comes back and they're like, oh, 2A EDU. So you're saying Barack Obama was better on the 2A? No, I'm not saying that. You're cute, but not so much, actually. No, I'm not saying that. Look, listen how ridiculous people are nowadays. So wait a minute. 2A EDU, you're saying that Barack Obama was better on the Second Amendment? Actually, in some ways, yes, but in some ways, no. It depends how you look at it. I mean, Obama said that bump stocks were illegal for like 8 years. So actually, that's complicated. I hate to say it. But no, that doesn't mean that I'm like, oh, I want the Obama. You guys know what I mean, don't you? Maybe Thomas Jefferson was more pro Second Amendment, okay? Guys, I can't stand Trump's in office. I'm really ticked off he's president right now. Oh, really? So you wanted Kamala? No, I didn't want her. Didn't vote for her either. Trust me. All right, let me look at this chat here and see what we got going. No. DLD After Dark, it is easier for a camel to fit through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to get to heaven. That is true. Gerald, but I don't care about the Jews. Can you read? I don't know. Your grammar isn't very correct. You didn't capitalize the C. Your C is not capitalized, Gerald. If we're critiquing you. Here, let me get out my red pen so I can mark it up. Well, hold on a minute. Do you or don't you? But what's a Jew, though? Before you can care or not care about it, please define the tombs, good sir. What side of the river are they on? When you say the Jews, does that include the Canaanites? Does it include dispensationalist Christians? I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I've heard of some of Ted Cruz's theories on it. Are you more like in the Cruz camp? Are you in the Lindsey Graham camp? Actually, the minor, I have read that. The Jews teach Jesus a bastard child and is burning in hell in a pot of excrement. Look that up. No, I have read that, actually. See, here's the thing. Gerald does like me. See, I gave him some crap, and he's giving me crap back. He says, I like you too, eh? Well, see, there you go. We like each other. He didn't capitalize his C, though. I used to like you, Gerald, except for you didn't capitalize your C in that sentence. Come on, man. Here's the thing, guys. You guys know. Look at. You guys know they. We'll just say that. They bought that Thomas Massie election. I mean, it's pretty obvious at this point. Thomas Massie was a huge Second Amendment defender, supporter in the United States Congress. Okay, he led the House Second Amendment caucus for most of his tenure in the House. So, can we at least acknowledge that? Can everyone at least agree on that? Like, it's kind of obvious. Miriam Adelson. I mean, what's up, Vince? How you doing? Oh, Deborah says, good night to Edu. My granddaughter and I are tired. Well, good night to you and your lovely granddaughter. If you're still watching. Here's the thing, guys. You haven't heard me rip on a Jew all night, actually. First of all, I'm having a really, really hard time defining the topic when it comes to this very specific geopolitical thing going on over there. And second of all, I just don't want them and theirs coming in and buying elections in my country. That's all it is. Notice I never said, like, I want this bad to happen, I want that bad. I believe vengeance is the Lord's, actually. Isn't that what the Bible says? The Bible says vengeance is the Lord's. I just want them out of my country. And that's the problem, man. And that's why so many people are disenchanted with voting. They're disenchanted with so much. Everyone's allowed to have their thing, except for people like me. And people like a lot of you. I mean, there's different extents and different degrees of everything, but basically people that, and I say in air quotes, aren't allowed to have an identity anymore are the white Christian males of this country. Everyone's allowed to have something. They're all allowed to say, as an American Jew, as an African American, as a black, as a brown, as a yellow, as a whatever. They're all allowed to have their thing, and they identify it. They can identify with it. They can brag about it. They can have pride in it. You're allowed to have gay pride. You're allowed to have black pride. And then as soon as you say, I'm just proud to be a white man, I love the way that God made me, and I wouldn't have it any other way, then you're considered a bigot. You're considered a racist. You're considered xenophobic. I just want my country back. I want to be able to be myself in my own country. That's really all this comes down to, which includes the Second Amendment. We've gone from where only the white landowner of good moral character can vote in this country, and look it up, that's the history, to now you're supposed to be considered some pariah for just saying, like, that you're white or that you own land or that you're a Christian or just any of these things. So I am starting to get a chip on my shoulder for all this. Doesn't mean I hate a bunch of people. It's just, why are they all allowed to brag about who they are? Why are they all allowed to have a sense of identity with them and theirs, but me and mine aren't allowed to have any identity in my own country? Why does it have to be like that? We're not really at war? What do you mean it's not really a war? Has there been an actual war since the Korean War? I mean, on semantics, we have no wars anymore in this country. Yes, that's the thing, Midwest Logger. Look, is Trump going to be perfect? No. Okay? Jesus isn't going to be on our ballot. There is going to be no perfect man on our ballot. Obviously. It's not that Trump's just falling short. It's what Midwest Logger is saying. He's doing exactly what he campaigned against and that he promised he'd never do. And here's the thing. I'm going to say this, guys, as a term of art, but I kind of mean it. And no, I still didn't vote for her. And no, the country wouldn't be better. Just to give you the predicating disclaimers. I'd give Kamala a bit more respect at this point, and here's why. Because she promised she'd do all these horrific things, and she would actually do them. Look, there's zero chance, is what I'm saying, that Kamala would promise if she gets in, she's going to do her best to pass gun control. There's zero chance that she's going to say, oh, let's end gun control. No, those people never do the opposite. They do what they promise they're going to do. As bad as it is, then they do worse. It seems like it's Republicans more and more lately. They come in and they say, no new wars. Huh. We're in multiple wars right now. More than you can even count. People forget about these little things like Venezuela. What about all the Cubans right now? living life without electricity, maybe an hour or two a day in a lot of areas, some places not at all, rationing gas. That whole country's ready to completely and utterly collapse. Those are people there too. They love their family too. Many good people live in Cuba. 2AEDU, you must support Fidel Castro. Yeah, okay. Stupid are people. It's sad that we're literally starving people out of Cuba right now. Venezuela. Ukraine. This place that I don't even know what it's called anymore between these two beautiful rivers. Between these two rivers in some place over there somewhere. I'll just leave it at that. Well, hold on, 2AEDU, you're off a little bit on that. No, I'm not. I said between two very, very specific rivers in some place somewhere. I don't even know where it's at. Right? Here's the problem, man. When he let his daughter marry one, I should have known it. I should have known it. There he is. What's happening, Michigan Watch? How you doing, man? Nice to see you. Michigan Watch, you know what's going on, don't you? DB Cooper, what's happening, DB? Let me see here. I think I'm behind on the chat. I got too spicy for the chat, it looks like. Yeah, I think I'm by myself, right? I'm the only one that can't identify with anything. That's okay. Thomas Massie, if that's who you're talking about, was 100% strongly endorsed by GOA. Yeah, that's not even a debate. What exactly did Massie do for the 2A? Go back and rewind. I've talked about this several times. He's introduced many pro-Second Amendment bills. He's had an excellent Second Amendment voting record. He was the head of the 2A caucus in the U.S. Congress. And this guy says nothing. Now, you know what's happening in DLD after dark? You're right. You can't have opinions in 26. They've been programmed. And I'm going to call a spade a spade. Because here's the deal with these two guys right here. They act like they like me. They act like they're my friend. See this Gerald here? I'm trying to play nice with you, but I actually don't want to be nice anymore. You're actually a jerk, okay? You know why? Because I sit here and talk on my channel, okay? And I give heartfelt information, opinions, and everything I say, you say I'm stupid. You say I'm stupid. You say no hard feelings. Come on, man. Believe in you would require the listener to be dumber than the speaker, okay? See, that's the problem with two-faced people, like some people in this chat. Dude, I still like you, bro. No, you don't actually. You're literally just calling me stupid all night long. Here's the thing, though. You wouldn't say it to my face. No, they don't actually. I guarantee you wouldn't say it to my face. I wonder why you wouldn't. I don't know. Have you guys seen this stuff all night? I'm a nice guy. Oh, I still like you just because we disagree. No, you've been calling me stupid all night. You've been calling me stupid all night. And you've been doing it week after week after week. See, why is it? See, we're in this paradigm now where, you're not allowed to say anything or you'll have feelings. Look, just because it's my channel doesn't mean I'm not allowed to say anything. This is my channel, so I can say whatever the heck I want. Because people have this thing now where they're like, oh, well, you're the channel owner. It's your channel. I'm allowed to berate you all night for hours and hours, for weeks and weeks. And you're not allowed to say anything back? No, I actually am allowed to say stuff back. That's the funny thing about it, right? Have you noticed that DLD After Dark, Midwest Logger? I know some of you guys have been noticing this. It's always that way. People can berate you and berate you and berate you, but if you say one thing back, all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, oh my gosh. Here's the thing. Two-way Edu, prove that Thomas Massie's pro-Second Amendment. No, you go prove it. Okay? You go prove it. You go run against him. Run against him, debate him, which his opponent wouldn't go to any of the 8 or 9, whatever there was, debates. But two-way EDU, Thomas Massie wasn't even pro-Second Amendment. Yeah, you got me. He wasn't. Yeah, because Trump's the most pro-Second Amendment of all time. You got me. Trump's way more pro-Second Amendment. He's way more pro-Second Amendment than John Adams, Thomas Jefferson. Oh, yeah, I mean. Jeez, oh, Pete. Here's the sad part. This old geezer is almost old enough. He was almost still alive in 1789, actually. That's the crazy part. That's the other thing, too. These people, these presidents nowadays, they're senile. They're 80 years old. They're 90 years old. And look, I know 80-year-olds that are smart and they're spry. Not these last two that we've had. Yeah, you're not allowed to notice anything. There we go. Yep. Pretty much circus clown tickets. Get your tickets here. And I'm the idiot ripping on Trump right now when probably 3/4 of the people watching love him. Huh. YouTube's been taking down videos. They've been giving me strikes. If I were to opine, I'm just guessing here, this channel's probably not that long for this world anyway, so whatever. Well, if that's to me, Deb said, well, thank you. Love to you as well. I think she's saying that to me. If she is, that's awfully nice of you. Well, Jesus was born a Jew. Yeah, people forgot what. You talking about the Old Testament or the New Testament? Yes, Ron Wayne. Thank you for reminding them of that. See, Deb said Wells being nice to me. Thank you. What did I forget? Chevalier. What did I forget here? I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know. Massey's a libertarian. If a libertarian isn't for the 2A, then they aren't libertarian. Well, I mean, he's a member of the Republican Party officially. Yeah. Yeah, Ego Riser, what's happening, man? How you doing? He says Massey's loss is an inflection point. Would say Bellwether, but it's far too late for that. More like last gasp. Now there's no legislators not beholden to the lobby. I know. So there was two big things he did. He was instrumental in getting that bill put forth. Remember, the whole Republican establishment tried to stop him. He had to use a very special procedure to even get a vote on releasing the list. Then he went out and made it publicly known that he was the only Republican in the U.S. Congress that wasn't taking money from AIPAC. He went too far. What's up, Bill? Is this all started because Bachita thought you were hating? See, that's the thing, man. Is I've been trying not to do that actually, and I never did before. Now, don't get me wrong. People accusing me of stuff if I'm not doing and all of that kind of makes me want to. Not gonna lie, I want to, but I don't really want to be that way either. No, it's like I said, man, it's not about any of us regular people. Look, regular people living in the United States, regular people, okay, living in so-called Palestine or so-called Israel, like we have more in common with each other in a lot of ways than a poor, unconnected person in the U.S. has with a rich, powerful, connected person in the U.S. I'm convinced. I just know it because, yeah, people, the devil has reign of the earth. People have free will, and a lot of people are actually falling for the devil's temptations and demons and all of these evil things. But at the same time, I believe everyone who's made is beautiful in the image of God. And so there's going to be beautiful, awesome people in every country in this world, obviously. And we're not all the same, and we don't have to be the same. And that's what I'm talking about earlier. I don't want to be Israeli, okay? So they need to stay the hell out of my politics and go do it in Israel. How about that? How about we pull my country out of Israel, okay, and fix our problems we have here at home? And they can do their thing over there, and I'll do my thing out of here. If you want to try to turn my country into your country, you need to get the heck out and go back to where you came from. It's that simple. Go back to where you came from. Because that's the problem, man. They're only allowed to do that to us. Everyone in the world's allowed to come to America and demand that we change our country. That we have to renounce who we are and bow down to them and worship them. But if we went to their country and even made a mere suggestion, it'd be off with our head in almost every instance. It's just getting to be ridiculous at a certain point. But everybody's all brainwashed where it's like, oh, well, you're being hateful. No, I'm not being hateful. I don't want an American Israeli PAC donating $30 million. Now, it's not just them directly. They're going to have it under a bunch of different shadow PACs. I get all that. But in my opinion, it's pretty obvious what's going on. Okay? If you're in a political PAC that has another country's name in it and you're using it to influence elections, you need to get the heck out of my country. What's wrong with that? I didn't say I want bad things to happen to all of them. I just, no, you want to come over to my country and prioritize your country? No, you go back to your country. Give me my constitution back. Give me my country back, what my country's supposed to be. We'll take care of ourselves. You take care of yourself. Being allies is one thing. But first of all, I don't even see any reason to have them as an ally. And second of all, with friends like this, who needs enemies? When you have to literally attack another country because that country's ready to attack this other country, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Why is America's greatest ally coming over here and buying elections out from the people in the state of Kentucky? Doesn't make any sense. I was about to give an analogy, but how sad things are, people would probably be like, well, yeah. But it's like, come on, dude. Are you going to allow your best friend to come in your house and drag your wife out of your own house by her hair and take her in the back seat of his car? And then come back and keep doing it, but he's still your best friend? Is he still your best friend? I mean, come on. Well, cut him some slack that he's doing this with my wife because he's my best friend. What? But I shouldn't even ask that question in this day and age because so many guys are cocked. They're probably like, yeah, actually. Actually, my best friend's doing that with my old lady right now. Somebody's probably saying, yeah, I know, whatever. I'm sure. Ugh. America's greatest ally. And I missed Marco Polo's last super chat. I'll thank you anyways, but I think he's already asleep. Marco Polo left another super chat and said, time to crash. Check out 2A EDU's locals and God bless. Well, God bless you too, man. And definitely check out my locals community. I definitely plan on doing a live stream there later this weekend. But in the meantime, I've been going for 2 hours, and I think I'm going to jump off in just 1 minute here. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. What's happening, my rights be gone, Mike? How you doing? No, I don't want any party to take our rights. I just saw what happened with that Massie thing, and look, was Massie gonna again? I don't look at Massie as some kind of demigod, okay? It was kind of a bellwether. I think it was Ego Riser that said that. It's like, yeah, on the surface, it's just another Congress critter. I get it, man. Trust me. But also just kind of show me where we're at right now. Just to watch them come in. And they just came in and just bought an election like right out in front of us. Wow. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, Chevalier, maybe in another stream you can help explain it to me more, because it is getting late and I'm going to have to jump off. But I've been asking some real basic questions for a while, and I don't think they're easily answered. I don't really know exactly who they are. Because, like, again, I'm not a theologian. I'm not an expert on the scripture, but I've read many things, I'll just say, in the Bible. Need to read it more, obviously, but I don't. Let me give you an opposite extreme. I don't understand how, okay, God's chosen people, Genesis, okay, Abraham's descendants. I don't think there's any way possible someone could convince me in a million years that that is literally synonymous with AIPAC, okay? So I'm just cranking it right up to 11, okay? You've got like the book of Genesis, many other places, but, and then you've got like AIPAC. I'm going to say that's not the same thing, right? I think we can agree there that, like, you know, 2A EDU, to be a Christian, to love God, you have to support AIPAC. No. Now, let's go in between, though. And this is something we can talk about in another stream if you or anyone else wants to. So, I know Jew and Christian's not the same thing. I know that for a fact. I'm pretty darn confident, okay? I have a pretty strong opinion that just like literally AIPAC, okay? That's buying elections. I'm pretty sure that's not like, you know, the exact like writing in the Bible. So I'm pretty sure if you went back to the original translations of the Bible, because some people say, hey man, look, some aspects of it get lost to translation. Pretty sure it doesn't say, you know, AIPAC is God's chosen people. Okay, so there, that's okay. There's that. I'm being dead serious, guys. I don't think anyone's arguing with me on that. But then there's like, okay, so the answer is somewhere in between. Who are they? Okay. Who are God's chosen people right now? Do you believe strictly still in the Old Testament? Do you believe in the New Testament? Depending on that, it's going to really be where the conversation branches off from there, right? Now, you can look at Jews. Is it a religion? Is it a race? Is it an ethnicity? Is it a land? Is it a chosen people? It's all of these things and at once. Sometimes it's certain things. It's other. But even just to say a religious Jew, that's not one thing. And I'm not an expert again in this, but I do know that there's not just one type of religious Jew. There's many different sects of Judaism, religious Judaism too. And I think a lot of that over there, they're just going to have to figure that out where they're at. But anyone that's going to come over here and buy congressmen in my country, they just need to get out. What's happening, Neil? How's it going? Yes, Jesus was born a Jew. There was a covenant, part of God's plan. Yes, I agree. Yeah, he fulfilled all prophecy and they still did not believe. No, yeah. Yeah. Oh, he did. He fulfilled the prophecies of Isaiah, the lesser prophets. I mean, you can go through the book of Micah. I mean, there's a lot to this for sure. Let me take one last look at the chat here. My Rights Be Gone just came in. Channel member and a generous $10 super chat. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate the support. He said, God blesses those that believe life is not paid for, but those that believe God will give what is needed. Yeah. Yeah, I know you can't buy your way into heaven. I know that. Mankind's tried to build a tower to get to heaven. That's why people say something like you're speaking a bunch of babble, right? That's where that comes from. They've tried to build towers to get to it. They've tried to buy their way. I mean, but you can come in the United States and buy a congressional seat. I mean, that's kind of pretty well known. I mean, we knew that even before the recent Thomas Massie election, right, Mike? We've known that for a while. Aliens do not exist. Ooh, now we're getting controversial. Jeez, oh, Pete's. Pillbox, what's happening, Pillbox Bunker? How you doing, man? And thanks for being a channel member. He said the Khazarians are the bad ones to AEDU. And that's, again, guys, where I have to go through and some of it learn for the first time, some of it brush up because it's been years, but there are a bunch of tribes that got split up. This is not just one thing. I mean, the Canaanites came from a descendant of Noah that wronged Noah, so it's not. Now, aliens, that's subjective. We could get into a big alien debate, but I definitely believe in good energy, bad energy, good versus evil, for sure. I believe in angels. I believe in demons. Yeah. Yeah, that's why we're supposed to put on the whole body, the whole armor of God, right? Because we're going up against the devil. So the battle's not of flesh and blood. That's not our fight. See, we're killing each other and other, but no, that's not our real battle. It's against principalities, against dark forces, against evil forces. I definitely believe there's evil. I believe there's good. I believe there's a huge chasm between heaven and hell, an infinite one, actually. But the aliens thing is a really, really vast topic, right? Are they like the Greys? Are they living in the center of the earth? I mean, I haven't been. I haven't been down to the center of the earth to check it out. Yeah. Yeah, buying power is just another way of trying to play God. When you have faith, no weapon formed against us shall prevail. Exactly. Yeah. Yep, put on the whole armor of God and the good book, which is his sword. What's happening, Rosie? How you doing? Nice to see you. And thanks for being a channel member. She says, hey, super busy day. Just popping in to say hi, everyone. We'll have to catch it on replay. Well, hopefully it's a decent replay. Shout out to any of you who are still watching live and who may be watching on replay. And look, Pillbox, real Jews, fake Jews, that's where things are not cut and dry. That's kind of what I've been talking about. Yeah, we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, right? Have a good weekend, Christopher Bishop. What's up, Randy Smith? Nice to see you, man. Yeah, I know. That's the thing, JR. They happen to spend the most ever, all time. I should have mentioned that earlier tonight, but hopefully everybody already knew that. That was the most they've spent all time on a congressional race. That's where it hurts. Like, that they come in and they literally, it's like, yeah, I guess. I mean, it's all egregious at this point, but when it's the most egregious, it kind of stings a little bit. Yeah. Lyle Smith says God stated his choice openly in Deuteronomy 7:6-9. For you are a people holy to the Lord your God. The Lord your God has chosen you out of all the people on the face of the earth to be his people. Which ones right now, though, are part of those chosen people? Does that include like Benjamin Netanyahu very specifically, though, or not? All right, guys. Well, it's getting late. I have to get up early and lots of stuff to do this weekend. But I will see you all again out here very soon. All right, guys. Thanks for watching and have a good one.